good show as well. Before we get to the show, I just want to do some San Francisco specific things. First off, for the last month, we have been traveling the country with my brother, and for large parts of the trip with Rosianna, who produces movie stuff. That's what it said in the script. Never gave me a name. And I was cut from the movie, as some of you may know, but I am in the DVD extras. And you can see me wearing this exact outfit, which I have not worn since that magical day when the director of the movie, Josh Boone, after one of my takes said, "I think we're gonna be able to work with that." One of the greatest compliments of my life. I knew then what I would later know for sure, which is that it was getting cut. I want to read you a little bit from my new book, Turtles All the Way Down.
To give you a brief talk on some of my areas of expertise, phylogeny and taxonomy. It's really way up there. It's not usually like this. I'm so honored to be in a space so beautiful as this to give you my... Oh, we've got other turtles here. I didn't realize I've never seen another turtle person. This is, wow. Hello. Thank you for coming out, turtle people. I don't, we're a small breed. Anyhow. I've been caught off guard. There's another one. Hello, turtle person. This is extremely exciting. All right, well, I'm a professor, as I said, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about taxonomy.
Much easier if we're just looking at terrestrial vertebrates like us, like you and me. We have some monotypic orders. Are you ready for them? Next slide. There are 3. As far as I can tell, I did a bunch of research and I got help from a bunch of smart people, and I could only find 3 terrestrial vertebrates in monotypic orders. Here they are. Our first one. Next slide. Order Tubulogentana! The aardvark. The aardvark is alone in its order. It's a very successful species running all across Central Africa. It eats insects. You might look at it and say, hey, I've seen lots of different kinds of anteaters before, but this isn't an anteater. South American anteaters are a totally separate thing, all the way over there in South America, very separate from Africa. And these kinds of species, the aardvark, despite its success, all of its nearby relatives have gone extinct. So good job, aardvark, bad job, all the rest of you guys. But they do have some living relatives. Of course, we all do. We are in fact related to aardvarks eventually. But one of its nearest living relatives is this guy. Next slide, please. All right. I mostly included the elephant shrew because of how cute it is, but also because the elephant shrew, interesting story, when Europeans first found it, they were like, look at that shrew. Looks kind of like an elephant. It's got a little chunky thing on it. Let's call it the elephant shrew. But in fact, the elephant shrew is more closely related to the elephant than to the shrew. That's just a real thing. Now this is the moment in the presentation where you're like, is there more to this bit? Nope, this is just a science presentation. That's not maybe what you were expecting when you went to a book event, but it's what's happening. All right, are you ready for our second monotypic order? Next slide, please. Order of Pisticomiformes. The Watson. Watson are very weird birds. You can tell by looking at them. What? Watson live in South America. Their last shared ancestor with a living species of bird was 64 million years ago. So around the time of the dinosaurs was the last time these guys split off, was when these guys split off from other birds. That's a long time, you guys, to be all alone on your own little branch of the tree. But they're actually quite successful as well. And they live weird as well as looking weird. They live by eating leaves. They have bacteria in their guts. They have like a very complicated digestive system. They're basically like cows that fly. They are ruminants, and that means that it takes a long time for them to digest the leaves so that they can get any energy out of them. And then once they do that, they poop a lot, which is why in South America they're called the stink bird. The Watson. All right, our final monotypic order, everybody. You ready for it? I'm glad to see that all 17 of you are. Next slide, please. Order The tuatar is the only species in the order Rhynchocephalia, and you might look at this guy and say, Dr. Turtleman, that's a lizard. Dang it. I've done that 2 times. That's clearly a lizard, but I look at that thing, it's just a lizard, and you can't convince me that that is some weird evolutionary relic, some living fossil. I'm looking at it, and so it basically looks like my friend Pete's bearded dragon. You guys got a friend Pete, like I did, with a bearded dragon? Yeah, you people probably know my friend Pete. But indeed, I can give you an example of how weird this guy is. 150 million years ago is when they split off from the modern lizards and snakes. Now, most of us who like to chew on things, bite things, chase things, eat them, we have what's called teeth. Those are really helpful. It's kind of weird when you think about it. We got these weird enamel protrusions sticking out of our faces. Tuatara came around before that adaptation, and instead, when they bite down on something, they bite down with the bones that stick out of their gums. They just grow their bones through their mouths out into the world. What? How is that a good idea? But anyway, they succeeded. 150 million years, these guys haven't changed very much. It works out really well for them as long as they stay completely isolated from the rest of the world, where there isn't a lot of competition from things that have advanced techniques like teeth. Tuatara almost went extinct. They were only on the mainland of New Zealand and surrounding islands. They went extinct on the mainland of New Zealand after a bunch of habitat infringement and exotic species came along, but they survived in the outlying islands, and we were able to find them there, breed them, reintroduce them to their native New Zealand landscapes, and also use them for research to understand the evolution of the lizards and snakes, and also just evolution in general, because these guys have such peculiar strategies for survival and are basically, it allows us to look at what something that is very similar to what was alive 150 million years ago. Instead of looking at a fossil, you just look at it, poke it, do tests on it, cut it open. Hey, we're scientists, it happens. Next slide, please. Now when you look at
I'd be home more. And like, I had to understand that like the core relationships of my life would be okay in order to let the pressure off of myself enough to enjoy writing again. And making that video was part of that process.
Oh, great, because I didn't know what your question.
All right, you know what I'll do? I'll do usually, Hank, we just have one stack of questions.
I know, I don't know how they got separated. Here's half of mine.
Great, we're just gonna do fewer questions than usual, friends.
Just enough to create 2 more to join back up with them. And a photon has no mass, and thus a travel at light speed. If you can imagine going that fast, but if you try, I think you'd be emitted and absorbed both in the exact same instant, even if you traveled from a place 13 billion light years distant. Cause the universe is weird, I'm kind of freak. Can you hear my guitar? Yeah? Whatever. Oh yeah. I'm kind of freaking out. What the heck is this all about? Infinite unbounded sets and patronizing gluon jets, and we'll never understand half of what we have at hand. At least that's what I fear. Cause the universe is weird. An electron has a strong charge as strong as a proton and a tiny mass, but not non-existent like the photon. And you might want to take a seat now, because this might blow your mind. It has a massive charge, but not apparent like a size. And there's a lot of stuff all around you right now. Your chair, your friend, your planet, and your sister's neighbor's cow, and all that mundane mass and energy is all we know and understand. But it's only 4% of what the universe has at hand. Cause the universe is weird, I'm kind of freaking out. What the heck is this all about? It's gonna be really hard. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Back to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun. Your brain gets smart but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You never know if you don't go. You never know if you don't go. Oh hey now, you're an all-star. Get the game on, go play. Oh hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid, and all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. Well, it's a cold place, and they say it gets colder. You're bundled up now, wait till you get older. But the media men beg to differ, judging by the hole in the satellite picture. The ice we skate, it's getting pretty thin. The water's getting warm, so you might as well swim. My world's on fire, how about yours? That's the way I like it, and I never get bored. Oh, hey now, you're an all-star. Get the game on, go play. Oh, hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid, and all that glitters is gold. Only shooting star break the mold. Somebody once asked, could I spare some change for gas? I need to get myself away from this place. And I said, yeah, what a concept. I could use a little fuel myself, and we could all use a little change. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Back to the rules and hitting the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun. Your brain gets smart, your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You never know if you don't go. You never shine if you don't go. Whoa, hey now, you're an all-star. The game on, go play. Oh, hey now, you're a rock star. The show on, paid, and all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold.
There's another part of the song where it's like, good times never seem so good, so good, so good. And then there's a second bop, 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 which I like to think of as the surprise bop, bop, bop. It's often where things go wrong here. The only way we can have a real moment of togetherness tonight, and I recognize that this will be difficult and possibly impossible, certainly it has failed in many places, is to not bop, bop, bop. And then, to not so good, so good. And then, perhaps most challengingly, to remember not to bop bop on the second bop bop bop.
Sometimes people get so excited that they've done so well on the so goods and the first bop bop bops that they just completely forget what we're doing.
Guys,
It's so hard because any person can make this not work.
Yeah.
Every person has the power to make this not work right now.
Yep. There's
It's a lot of people.
and each of you has that power. Let me submit that you don't want to use it. I'll tell you why. If this works, again, hasn't worked in every city, but we've got a list. When this works, I don't want to overpromise, but it is the best feeling you will ever have. And it is a feeling that you will carry with you in your heart for the rest of your days, and you will never feel completely alone ever again, because you will know forever that you had that moment of togetherness at the Curran Theater in San Francisco on Halloween in 2017. So we're going to do this together, and I believe that we can do it together, even though it's a rowdy crowd, even though it's a party night, even though I know there was some pre-gaming. We're going to do it together. We're gonna do this together. We're gonna not ba ba ba. We're gonna not so good, so good. We're gonna not ba 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 again, and it's gonna feel so good.
So good. All right. You can sing along to the rest of it though, or you could be stay quiet the whole time.
Yeah,
It's
if you're nervous
that's a
about
safe
ba, ba,
way to
ba,
play.
just don't go quiet the whole time. That's acceptable.
When it began, I can't begin to know it, but then I know it's going strong.
Remember what we're doing here, guys.
Was in the spring, the spring became a summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along?
We're gonna not ba ba ba. Total silence.
Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you, sweet Caroline.
It's okay. That wasn't on purpose. That wasn't on purpose.
Totally.
That was not on purpose. We've all been that person in our lives. Don't get mad at them. We're doing it again. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Sweet Caroline, good times never
San Francisco! Oh, how powerful! Indeed! Oh, we had that moment of togetherness! We were all in it together for those few seconds! Oh, thank you! God, if you could bottle that feeling! Thanks again to everybody for making tonight work. Everybody at this extraordinary theater, booksellers, again, please support.